Hello everybody, my name is Deku, and welcome back to another Hunter the Parenting reaction. Last one I loved doing. I genuinely really like doing these. I know that I didn't do the one for the... No, I think I did actually. Yeah, I think I did. Anyway, we're here for chapter 5.3 of Hunter the Parenting for the audio log between Door and Boy and all this other stuff. I want to first get something out of the way. I'm a pirate. I'm a Marxist. I am a communist. I'm a dirty leftist, socialist, tanky, whatever the fuck, whatever you want to say. Alright? But I am in no way a fucking dirty Trotsky or Nazbol or performative liberal or whatever the fuck. Alright? And I'm saying that because a lot of people got confused about why a guy with the opinions that I have would suddenly be watching something that is verbatim labeled gothic punk. They were confused about the fact that I was calling out hypocrisy within the technocracy as dirty fucking capitalist and Pentex and all sorts of other things, right? About how the War of Darkness is a deep critique on capital and other things along those lines. Which it is, by the way. It is. It is very consistently portrayed like that. And if you have only ever played V5, you might have thought otherwise. Or maybe you just played with your fucking eyes shut. It was a countercultural movement game that inspired the goth and punk scenes. Two scenes that fundamentally were counterculture to the neoliberal times of, or the late 80s and early 90s, especially within 1991. Are we forgetting that that's the year that the Cold War ended? You cannot assume that this game is not inherently political, especially given the fact that within the very first, pages of the book, it is mentioned the definition of gothic punk is that you are going to be struggling to survive, while there are people going to be preying on you. There are going to be people trying to absorb the fact of what you are and send you to damnation. You are a monster, but you will be damned if you don't try to make a move within this and lay down and take it quietly. Now, obviously, the anarch movement is basically just a liberal wing of fascism, but that's what makes it so interesting. There is no socialist movement. There is no communist bloc or anything along those lines. You must take the concessions that you get and run with them. And to anybody saying, oh, what about the USSR? Weren't they technocrats? In lore, yes. But if the writers actually knew anything about anything pre-1984 Washington Pact and Gorbachev and reformism of the Soviet Union, they would know that under the leadership of the actual Secretary of State and everything along those lines, due to the very notions of Washington knew about the supernatural, that most certainly the USSR would. But given the fact that the whole idea behind socialism is understanding the dialectics and material conditions of the world, they wouldn't ignore the supernatural. They would understand it as a form of either proletarian struggle or bourgeois influence. Anyway, we're here. I had to get that out of the way so that anyone can go be angry in the comments or whatever. I'm very excited for this chapter. I love Hunter the Parenting. I love World of Darkness. I have literally been reading through on my tablet that I got for Christmas, Mage the Ascension. There we go. Mage the Ascension 20th edition. I've been loving all of it. I have a lot of issues with Mage and its metaphysics, but I also really enjoy them. It kind of presents me a challenge to see how I could wrap my head around it, or maybe even patch things up. But yeah, I'm very excited. Let's get into it, shall we? Enough yapping after 5 minutes. I would love to pay to have myself listed here, so that I could, what's it called? I want my OC, my vampire OC listed here. Door and Boy. Hunter the Parenting is a fan-based multi-game line chronicle. I do like the fact that it's a multi-game line, because very rarely is it ever multi-game line. There's influences from other game lines, but it's never a multi-game line.
Be brave, boy. A scary movie may have been a more appropriate first step.
I really, really hope that they're going to be going into Boy's like mentality as a child going through such traumatic events. Gangrel, Nosferatu. Also, I just want to mention, by the way, ever since the last reaction that I did to this, I have learned so much more about WoD and World of Darkness. It kind of went like, oh wow, I know about Pentax. Oh, I know about the Technocracy. I know a little bit about like Kane and other things. I've watched a lot of videos, and then I just like went off the fucking deep end and absorbed everything. The amount of books that I have bought over the past few months of just reading shit is absurd. And not even like the game books, but like the novels that have been released, the comics that have been released. Ugh.
Boy, you did good tonight.
I hate vampires so heckin' much.
Boy, language. Oh, boy, you're doing well. Learning to sublimate hate in place of fear is part of becoming a well-adjusted adult.
Let's have them eat each other.
Limelad is beating the Larper to death with his bare hands.
Or, come on, man.
You are uncomfortable because the one dying seems so human. He is no different from the creature eating him alive. That is why I do not hesitate to cheer and make sport of their death. You're letting them...
The Diablo rise each other!
You want to live forever, son? Die, Hunter! No.
It's kind of crazy to think that like Piotr there was actually like only like a 10th generation Nosferatu. Obviously he was like blood buffed for a little bit from being everything, but a 10th generation Diablerist looking like the fucking Incredible Hulk, chucking cars around and like cratering the earth in mere seconds to create a pitfall trap. And then all sorts of other stuff. I think people forget how strong vampires are.
Boy has always been exemplary, but between those blanks in the tunnel and breaking out of the cellar, completely natural to worry. Fixated on horses of late. I shall do all in my power to mollify this strange fixation. I will speak to him like...
I'm very interested to see what Door has to say about Horse, what Boy has to say about everything that has happened so far, and if I'm correct that there's a lot of foreshadowing in the Akira thing, because based on how everything was portrayed in that episode, I actually really liked it. A lot of people thought it was cringy, but like that was the point. Child telling a story and being really melodramatic. I think that my personal headcanon is that actually ties into a lot of things, and given the fact that Alpha Boost had kind of spoken out on the game line, I wonder if they're going to try and like redo it in a way. What if Boy is related to the Kuei Jin in some form or another? Because the Kuei Jin themselves actually aren't that bad of idea, but the idea is that they're the only Asian vampires instead of being a separate entity that works similar to vampires. Kind of like how the Garou have multiple different Pharaoh that populate different places, or the Mage have other cultural interpretations of similar traditions, right? But the Kuei Jin are said to be like, this is the only vampire that's in Asia. Aren't they so orientalist and like quirky, yellow fever and yellow scare, blah, 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 late 90s, all this other shit, which doesn't make sense, especially given the fact that a lot of antediluvians roamed all of the earth, and would have very easily have embraced Childer and other continents to create Methuselah for at least a bloodline, let alone the fact that they would have had Childer to formate an entire clan as well. because the clans only started with the antediluvians and having being sired by a single antediluvian. You could have yeah, like there if I'm correct, there's like one or two possible clans that could have originated from a single antediluvian before the curse was put on, because there was the whatever. I'm gonna keep watching before I continue yapping.
My boy is strong. Stronger than you know. Nice up.
Father Son Burger Nightmare. Let's go to
It's
Otali's.
getting late. I see it as 1823 Eastern Standard Time. That would be 023.
023.
24 Austrian time. That in turn would be 2324 in this country. This country.
1124.
Reminder to me, upon Father's return, further discuss solution to the persistence of British royalty. Obviously outside range of royalist offenders. When will he return?
You know, despite how hard-headed Dor is and the fact that he was a Marine, I deeply feel like there's a good chance that whatever happened in the Marines was not like a form of patriotism. It was the fact that maybe there's some like crazy shit going on in there and he wanted to get training to become like a hunter and other things like that. Because if your dad is Big D, the big capital M anti-capitalist, right? Of constantly spouting off about how you hate the modern world of corporatism and capitalism and consumerism and the stripping away of the human soul for profit margins and all this other stuff. I really doubt that any of his children wouldn't be similar to him in that regard. Even the sons that have supposedly like went away or even have tensions with him, like Marcus has a lot of tension with him, share a lot of same politics. Dor is a very loyal son, so I kind of doubt the fact that Dor is not going to be some form of radical in some way, which very much just makes the entire like bit of him being very patriotic even funnier. Because it's one of those things where it's probably he's like, oh well, the founding fathers, like, they were against tyranny, they actually did revolution, and then like not establish that there were plenty of people that were for slavery, but then there was plenty that were also against slavery, and that the American Revolution wasn't like a pure proletarian revolution. It was an ideological revolution that actually formed the system of capitalism that we have nowadays from mercantilism and the like. Because it wasn't until just a little bit after the founding of America and the colonies, and right around the 18th century, during the start of the second or proper Industrial Revolution, that the idea of what capitalism is truly started taking form. And yes, you could say that it happened 200 years earlier with forms of feudalism, but that's anti-dialectical. The actual proper identifiable industrial capitalism of owning means of production and wage labor and other things like that only existed a decade or two after the revolution, because that was a system that was still relying on mercantilism and slave labor that then moved into industrial capitalism. But I really do like Dor. Dor is probably one of my favorite characters. But so whenever I say any of this like critique and everything, that is not me saying I hate the character or I hate the story or I hate the character writing. No, I actually really enjoy it.
We will return first.
He's a walking contradiction just as much as
Current plan of action.
Big D is.
We're going to Otali's. I will secure a late-night meal for my son. Then return to Chapter House and receive further instructions. Something will go wrong unless I am present.
He's he's a contradiction in the fact that he can be so extremely based, but then feed his son an all meat diet and think that that's okay. So I don't know. I don't know.
Disaster is imminent. I need to be present. If not...
Oh, you stupid boy! Why didn't you stop Marcus? His actions could have killed us all! And his older brother just let him? Nay, you helped him do this! How could I ever trust you again?
No, he never said those words. But it feels like he did. Or maybe should have. He would have been right to save them.
Gore has a lot of self-doubt, clearly. He has a lot of self-doubt, but there's also there's this image of D in his mind that isn't the D that exists in reality, most likely due to things that maybe not even D himself did. Because D is very clearly an amazing father. He's a very quirky and fucking batshit insane father, but he loves his children and will raise them as best as possible. Especially because, given the fact that this is the world of darkness, and he knows so much, that recontextualizes a lot of the decisions that he chose. Not sending his kids to public school beyond certain grades, and then allowing them to study at home with books instead of, like, the actual other things of, like, homeschooling, where it's, like, kind of, you know, right? It's like a narrowing of like, how do you say, ignorance, right, from the rest of the world around them. Big D probably taught them more than anything any public school ever would, and that made them much more ready for the world of darkness, because this world is a supernatural one. It is not just one where you need political consciousness or anything like the awareness of, like, geopolitics or anything like that. You need to understand what diablerie is. You need to understand the fact that vampires exist and other things like that, but be so careful to be within the margins and not reveal yourself, because it would be annihilation if you did so.
Boy was right.
I don't know, Dad. It seems like it might be more complicated than that.
It could have been avoided. All that unnecessary harm and damage. But you only exacerbated it. And in the end, the one who all the responsibility fell to was my boy.
How could you place that burden on him?
No.
Who's that?
Boy chose this life. Chose to travel with his grandfather and myself. He's proven himself. Saved our lives.
He chose... Here's the thing, is that, like, Boy's like 11 or 12 years old. There's not a lot of choice that a child can do to properly, like, make an informed decision. But the other thing is that, like, that also doesn't mean you strip the autonomy away from him. Dor wanted to be with his father, and maybe something happened to his mother, and Boy wanted to come along with them. It is now the responsibility of you two as the adults to watch over the child, but also not deny that child of the autonomy of their decisions, but to teach and foster them. They are not actors in your direction of life. They are peers. They are fellow people and humans that you can collaborate with.
He is a hunter.
He's only 11.
This business on the bus, with horse. Is he ready? Truly ready?
He's not ready.
If I set my son up for failure, destruction, madness.
Dad!
Boy! What was it?
Oh, I was talking about the Tully's collectible figurines.
They haven't replaced the window wiper, so they just have sponges on them. That's funny.
Yes. The toys.
Collective figurines!
I'm sorry, son. I was considering something very intensely.
Oh, What you think about, Dad? Dad? Dad?
It's these roads, boy.
What about him?
I dislike driving the goose on British roads.
Because of how small the cars are?
Son, you must remember, small cars are a marvel of design. Though less strategically useful for ramming maneuvers, their compact nature and fuel efficiency provide ample alternative utility. It is one element of this land that I can appreciate.
Oh, well,
And that, what did I say? And that kind of shows you that, like, there's a lot of moments of Door and his like personality that, like, he is very brash. He is almost very, like, domineering as a opinionated man. But there is also aspects to that where he is far more, like, deep and nuanced than just British bad, America good, or Western things good, everything else bad. Like, you would imagine that a man like Door, based on some of the stuff that we'd already established with him, that he would hate the smaller cars. He would want that machismo, or like almost chauvinism of bigger, bulkier cars. But he's like, no, I like the small cars.
Bovril.
Exactly. Bovril is a useful alternative source of vitamins. A collagen should not survive on bones alone.
Amen.
No, what I cannot abide are these constant roundabouts and narrowing roads. Time has passed this country by, boy, and the advent of the automobile has led to the facilitation of motorways to accommodate them, not the horse and buggies of centuries past. And on top of that, I find myself instinctually trying to deviate to the correct side of the road, forced to contend with the hubris of Britain motorways and their left-hand path mindset.
So, not sad? Not angry?
Missing out on the arcanum to revel in fast food of our home country? Who could be mad about that?
Heck yeah! Oh, Tully's! Let's go!
Come on, boy.
Oh, sickly green.
Oh, kind of empty.
Situational awareness. Perimeter scan. Parking lot. Open space. Aim clear. 2 doors on the building. Suspicious figures. None spotted. Threat assessment? Low.
Remember, son, never grow idle at an eatery. Fast food parking lots are the battlegrounds of the proletariat.
Oh, Big D, I love you. Oh, I love you. You are so fucking insane, but he also has a point. Like, yeah, yes, is that really funny and, like, an insane thing to say that, like, the battlegrounds of the proletariat and the working class are fucking parking lots? Yes, but also not entirely untrue. If you are fighting in an urban, like, cityscape, one of the most open areas that will be filled with the most urban forms of cover are parking lots, whether empty or filled. So he's not wrong.
That's right. Low does not mean safe. The lot being this empty isn't strange, given the time.
My watch says it's only 18 p.m.
Attaboy.
18 p.m.
Stepping out of the staff doorway. Intense gate. Red flag 1. Obvious paramilitary accoutrements. Red flag 2. Carrying about 36 hamburgers. Green flag 1. Barely even pretending to not be staring at us. Hateful, flickering eyesight. Red flag 3. Boy, avoid eye contact.
That's like 36 burgers!
Oh, the fucking PMC contractor from the last one. Wait, does this mean that they... No, this is probably before or after. I forget. I wonder how the timeline is looking out for this. But it makes sense that they're at Otali's. It's not really like an odd thing. It's kind of like a fucking American soldier dining at a Burger King, right? It makes sense right? Pentex owns Otali's. It's one of the many, many subsidiaries of Pentex, which is not the technocracy. That is something that I would like to establish. Well, technically, they are technocrats via technology, but they are not the technocracy in the terms of the New World Order and enforcing consensus, and the things like that. But I was expecting, like, clear paramilitary accoutrements, and it's just, like, a guy wearing camo, but then I'm like, oh, well, never mind.
Fail.
Oh, excuse us.
Excuse this idiot!
Whoa.
36 hamburgers!
Do you need help?
This is the greatest failure of my life!
We'll help you pick up the bergs.
Extreme burger despair.
Listen, you rat pig, fuck you, scum shite, rat dog, you fuck shit, fuck bitch, shit, fuck.
Door's not happy.
Shouting from the car. Are you swearing at the working class?
Yes, Mr. Park.
Another time. We must get going. We're on time.
Are you screaming at the working class again? Don't worry about it. Another time. We can do that later.
Of course, sir.
Guys, it's almost like I'm not fucking insane for picking up on leftist ideas within this show, or in the fucking franchise, or other things like that, and that this show is kind of just cranking it to an 11 because it's an indie development that doesn't need to worry about making, like, investors or anything like that uncomfortable with all this other stuff, right?
Right away, sir. If I ever...
Which is always really funny because Paradox created a game where communism is the most OP form of, like, anything, right? With Victoria 3. Like...
See you again. I will employ you. Employ you.
Wow. The greatest form of punishment that a member of the security force of the bourgeoisie is employing them. Shows you how fucked up that is.
Okay. Can we go in now?
Yes.
Oh, Tallies! Oh, Tallies! Oh, Tallies!
Friolated Gargo's ketchup. A lot of these things, they posted on their on their Patreon that a lot of these, like the actual menus and stuff, a lot of these actually aren't that insane. I was thinking that they were going to kind of crank up the like craziness to like a little bit of an 11, right? And be like, this is a 5-pound burger. Which is kind of like unrealistic, but no, like a lot of the menu items are crazy, like heart busters, right? But nothing like stunt food that you would see in like Vegas or something like that, like at a heart attack grill, right? Where it is 10 pounds of meat and other things like that, because this, at the end of the day, is a fast food joint. There's a lot that you can do with fast food, but there's also not a lot that you can do in a timely manner and the like, which told me and tells me that they're paying attention to the fact of like Gargos and Otali's is something that you kind of know quite a bit about because of Werewolf the Apocalypse, and the Forsaken. Is it Forsaken? Forsaken is Chronicles of Darkness, and all the stuff with them. But there's a lot of things that you as like storyteller can kind of like take liberties with, or like kind of expand upon within your World of Darkness. A lot of the times it's writer's prompt, which is kind of a little bit of a cop out instead of just giving us all the lore. But because White Wolf, they will give you so much lore on some of the things that like doesn't need a lot of lore, but then there are other things that need a lot of lore that they won't explain, which I always find really funny. So yeah, it is very, very cool to see. I always love seeing like leftist ideas mixed with like the counterculture of the 90s, like combined together, because the writers of White Wolf weren't like socialists, at least in like a very like card carrying way. They clearly were anti like authority, but there was also a lot of like reactionary stuff within their things because they didn't do the research. They were stuck within the framework of like Enlightenment Stoicism and like Western ideas, where they would end up writing things that instead of being like a deep culture from a foreign country, they would see it as an exotic other, right? You can see this with like the Akasha, or Middle Eastern things, or just basically non-European aspects of WoD when it comes to mage or vampire or things along those lines. So seeing a writer team come forward and actually do research into these things and understand that there's a lot of flaws and problematic things, and instead of like going about it in a sort of like liberal way where they kind of hand wave it or like use it and maybe add in some like bits and pieces of performative politics, they like actually do understand that you need to do more than that. You cannot just be performative. You need to actually have a form of empathy beyond that and understand that these books that might have a lot of problematic things are problematic, but you can still utilize them for very fun things. You can utilize them for very cool like storytelling and narratives and the like. Obviously, I don't know them personally, and I don't want to like paste politics, but I've been following Alpha Busa for a very long time, and like kind of stopped around like the end of TTS, around like the like sort of halfway point, and then got back into them because of Hunter the Parenting, and then reading through all of their stuff on Patreon and their community tabs and in their comments and everything like that, is you can kind of, and also their out of character moments during Norfolk Wizard game, you like very clearly have this idea that these are very progressive people beyond just the system that we have now of being like, oh, we can make the system better. There are things outside of that exist. There are things that exist outside of current frameworks and humanity as a whole. And the World of Darkness is a perfect thing for showing just how horrid things are.
Customer service leaves something to be desired.
Someone said customer service? Because that's my middle name.
Is it?
Absolutely. Francis Customer Service Fuchs, manager of this wonderful O'Tolly's family dining establishment.
Manager. Smile too wide. Red flag 1. Cheek folds too numerous. Red flag 2. 13 grease stains forming a potentially suspicious pattern. Red flag 3.
Forgive the tardiness. I got the clothes in.
I immediately noticed that it almost looks like a Garu sigil right here on his left breast's pocket. Oh, left hand side of his shirt, and that tells me that this guy's probably worm tainted. Because something that's really interesting is when capitalism within the World of Darkness is very interesting. Most of the time, you will see normal people suffering and the proletariat being exploited by just normal humans. Maybe there's a vampire in the background. Maybe there's some like worm or infernalism or technocracy mumbo hubbub fucking bullshit, whatever the fuck, right? And that is something really, really interesting that a lot of people usually don't actually key in on. Not everything within the World of Darkness is evil because of the supernatural. Oftentimes it's just because of the human implemented systems that are already there. But when it comes to something like O'Tolly's, this guy has a worm spirit or like a bane or like maybe Fomori or like just manipulated or anything along those lines, right? And the idea that they put demons in their burgers is true, but I also think that there's a little bit of a logistical oversight, even for something as large as a mega corporation, is that, well, there's a reason why McDonald's doesn't put human meat in their burgers. At the end of the day, they're still beholden to shareholders and other things like that. And it's sometimes easier than, instead of using more labor to summon demons and put demons in burgers, you just put demons in some burgers. And the other burgers is just fucking cows. Or find out some way to properly do demon-infested cows en masse and industrialized to make better profits. Instead of just, whatever things, right? Because the beer company that makes you beat their wives is interesting. But then you also have to remember that, yeah, that's a very cool thing. That is very interesting idea of this company making people do that so that it fuels the worm and thus their power. But you also have to remember that they, as a corporation, they're not like a cult or anything. They would have to be doing this from a way that would help bolster their capital at the end of the day to continue doing it. So subtly influence is a good thing, because instead of forcing it to happen can cause things to, and especially whenever it's a 1 in 1,000 or a 1 in 100 bottles that actually have these effects on them, instead of going through all of the additional labor to make it, in fact, all of them.
Shift all on my own, and, well, you know how it is. I was observing our company's strenuous adherence to physical cleanliness after using the loo.
Assessment questioned. Personal bias recognized. This man might just look like that.
Blue?
Oh, that's English for the John, my continental friend, Rick the Priest.
What do you say? Yep. I was, Adore said that, and I was like, yeah, maybe. Maybe he does just look like that, but that doesn't really take away the fact that he's a middle manager, and is, a lot of times, middle managers are either really nice, and just kind of like, they're just a worker too, or they kind of power trip, and are essentially mouthpieces for corporatism, and other things along those lines. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The bourgeois intelligentsia, or whatever the fuck. Well, technically they'd be petty bourgeois, but you know what I mean. Especially if they're the owners of the franchises or other things along those lines. But any other, like, manager would just be fucking just proletariat.
That's what I assume, given your accents.
They never taught us about blues at school.
From the US and A, I take it?
Of A.
You're of A. That's lovely. Fine country out there, America is. Whereabouts?
That is actually a pretty important distinction. It's not the United States and America, it's the United States of America. Which kind of paints the narrative that America is a part of the rest of the Americas. Let's be real. No.
Oh, we're from...
I'm a human skin.
What?
I said, let the meal service begin. What can I get you?
Red flag 4.
Let me get a...
I'll have a number 3 Gutbuster XXL combo. The boy will have the little Tolly's meal and a side of pork fries. All the buns, extra bacon.
No bread?
No bread.
Right on. Would you like those super slopped?
Super slopped?
It's our new promotion. Essentially, the burgers are injected with a special blend of partially hydrogenated oil and ultra GMO corn syrup for that patented O'Tolly's kick to the heart.
I am uncertain.
It's all made.
I love seeing these these like weird figures and stuff, because it's like, doesn't that look a little too gross for like to be realistic? It's like, one, World of Darkness. It's going to be cranked up. The weirdness is going to be cranked up a little bit. Two, Have you seen some of the like fast food mascots? This is a collaboration, right? This is like a fucking like Cardi B meal thing. That's not the actual O'Tully's mascot, if I'm correct, and or at least based on the menu of Collaboration Adventure, right? It's with Gargos, and instead of just, which is again just a collaboration with another business, and kind of just making up figurines and all this other shit. But yeah, like all of the stuff with how like disgusting the food is actually incredibly realistic.
In the US, of course.
Green flag 1. So,
Green flag 1.
Sloppy.
Grand! Now, for the little Tolly's meal, you have 2 options for toys. You can either get a toy from the Biological Warfare line, or a Gargo's Pocket Beast trademark.
Whoa, gosh. Those are both awesome.
They're fucking they're showing off a Fomori and a Pentex PMC that got bitten by a Garu.
I choose.
Aw. I tell you what, why don't I just put in one of both? On the house!
And yes, I know that the word is properly Fomor, not Fomori, because Fomori is multiple, but Fomori sounds cooler.
You really do that?
Of course! Everyone deserves to enjoy the gifts exhumed from the Earth's cavernous womb.
Thanks so much, Francis.
You're so welcome! Your total is £8.73. Would you like to round up and donate to the Doggerland Re-Elevation Project?
I will not give a single...
It's actually still not that expensive. $8, which is about only $12. Whenever you can go to like a McDonald's and have to pay almost $30 just to get food that feels filling instead of just a fucking burger, a single patty burger and other things like that. Let alone the fact that a single patty burger and fries, even as a meal with a small drink, can be almost $10 now.
$1 more than necessary.
Excellent! By failing to donate, you've earned 2 Tolly bucks. I could deduct that from your total, or add that to your account for later.
Deducted, I think.
Roger, roger. Your new total's $8.50 flat.
Pounds. I have dollars. You will take that.
We take that too. Alrighty then. Usually we close in-store dining at 9. But for you lads, I'll keep the front open as long as you're here. The food will be out in a jiffy.
Gosh, what a nice guy. But, what do you say about the Earth?
Something odd. We'll discuss it after eating. Which soft drink would you prefer, boy?
Liquid Demon Seed, duh.
Too tangy for my tastes. I prefer the simple indulgence of a dank stank. Find the most optimal spot.
Yeah, of course those are the drink options. It's like finding out Mountain Dew or Monster Energy is actually like evil and being like, well, it was staring us right in the face the entire time.
Walled off. Only one window visible. Several tables to use for cover. Easily fortifiable. Boy sits in the most defensible position. I take the front. Ah. This table, good boy.
Yeah.
He is so deeply caring of his son. He is constantly thinking about his son, and that is such an admirable thing. Clearly, he is taken after Big D.
Weird.
Really? Was it about the strange man who took our order?
I mean more about the others back at the place.
I understand your worry, but they're merely British. Experience has taught me that there's very little this family can't handle on top of that.
Are you sure?
Yes, certain.
'Cause last time we thought we won, and yet, you know, they got out.
Yes, they did.
So how can you be sure?
Never
that-
forget, boy. Even President General George Washington lost battles. In the end, though, he still managed to beat General Cornwallis to death with his bare hands after swimming bare-chested across the frozen Potomac, didn't he?
Actually, Dad, the books at school said that's not how that went.
British propaganda. Your great-grandfather was there, boy. It happened that way, for a fact.
Which, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't doubt that maybe George Washington was like an imbued or something like that, and did swim across and beat the fuck out of somebody with his hands, which is very cool in aura, but also, you have, George, you have slave teeth in your mouth.
Hey.
Listen, son. I wish we were there, but your grandfather, he isn't going to let something like what happened last time happen again.
Great-grandfather. So, Door's grandfather, and Dee's dad. Dee's dad was around in the 1770s. Damn. Unless it was just Dee himself that was there.
Yeah, but... Forgot it.
It's kind of like Houdini being a Tremere, or how Rasputin was possibly a werewolf, fey-touched, imbued human that's basically like Samuel Haight, essentially, who is also a kindred.
No, I cannot forget on command, boy. Tell me.
It's just that guy back then, Piotr, he was jumping at you and I hit the shot. I'd been practicing. That felt good. In a way. But what if I didn't? Wouldn't matter how long you'd all been doing this stuff then.
Boy, lingering on what-ifs like that isn't helpful.
Maybe.
That night was an aberration. Rarely do things get so out of hand. That night.
Yeah, that night was essentially all safe holdings being ignored for a perfect storm of things. And it's kind of implied that Piotr would have been able to punch through that demolition armor, which is fucking insane. But it's also the fact that there was a good chance that, given sunrise was only a few minutes away, based on how only a few minutes later that Piotr was burned up in the sun, they could have had another way out. And when all fail-safes fail and aren't safe, you usually hope that there's something that you as individuals can do with your own labor and your own skills and your own abilities to be able to pull through.
We really did need you, son. You showed your true mettle and grit.
Yeah, exactly. Because Boy wasn't an aberration. He's a hunter. Despite being a child that is often in danger because of this, the adults around him have worked with him to ensure that he is not just as protected as other members of the family, but also as much of a protector for other members of the family as well. So he was not like a fluke or anything. The fact that he did take that shot and make it was a testament to the success of the family.
It wasn't just luck.
But what if the next
Then you be ready for it.
What if the next time it isn't enough? What if I miss? Or what if the next time is right now and because we're not...
He's right.
Does he need to know he is?
The truth is that he is a child, and he is right. We can't be everywhere at once, boy.
The thing is that, like, maybe the next aberration is failure. Maybe it's a victory, too. We can't be nihilistic and view that a potential of failure is a guarantee of failure. If we want to make sure that that failure is not guaranteed, then we take all the steps to ensure that we learn lessons from the previous mistake and aberrations that were done. And that's on dialectics, baby.
And you can't escape catastrophe. But that doesn't mean that you need to live in fear of it.
That sounds good and all, but like, I can't not feel stuff, Dad.
That is exactly the struggle. And indeed, boy,
It's not about having no feelings. It's about understanding those feelings. The idea of stoicism being this idea of you need to ignore all emotions is just some bullshit that came around now. Original stoicism was understanding and mastering your emotions so much that when they do happen, you know how to keep it contained, that you know how not to just lash out or let it take over you. You know that when you cry, instead of just not crying, you cry. You allow yourself to cry and other things like that. And while I'm not a stoic and I don't believe in a lot of stoicism and stuff like that, there are attributes of it that are very good things to think about and to take into account.
There will come times when you can't control your emotions. But you're smart enough to recognize that.
Yes.
And recognizing that is the first step. Then you learn how to deal with those emotions productively, because they will never go away.
Exactly.
You just have to experience them differently.
Exactly.
Explore your emotions, let yourself feel them, and then find your way to navigate them.
Is it hard?
You don't get lost in the sauce. Taste the sauce. Understand the sauce. Maybe make some more sauce and experience that one too. But don't fucking drop it on the floor, damn it.
The hard part is the time it takes to learn. But to start, be earnest with yourself and with this world.
Ernest?
Driving a car is incredibly dangerous, boy, especially in Britain.
Okay?
Anytime someone is behind the wheel, they assume the risk that a deadly accident can occur.
Like when Grampy drives.
They know that...
Oh my god, shut the fuck up. I hear the noise in the background.
If they are fully cognizant of the road, someone else might not be.
It's kind of the same thing with, like, guns, or knives, or bodybuilders, right? You could be walking into a gym and understand that you're cognizant of your weights and lifting them and other things like that, but there could be a guy with roid rage to throw them at you. You could be on the road. You're driving 2 tons of steel that is a literal explosive that could explode if one thing fucking hiccups. But you just need to be aware of that. You need to be aware that other people around you are like that. And instead of becoming careless and other things like that, nor do you have to be anxiety-filled or necrotic, or, I mean, not necrotic, neurotic and almost overly serious and, like, aware and, like, treating everything as if it's a dire life and death situation. You just mature and understand that, yes, these things might happen, but I know what I'm in control of. I know what I can do. And if I can possibly influence people around me that are the closest to me, I can ensure that I'm doing safe things to prevent more harm being done, right? Of course, there is ideas that a broader, mature culture can prevent more, but that does not mean that it becomes idealistic that suddenly all of the problems are gone or that new problems won't arise, right? That is viewing things as staticism, right? That things will just be as they are and not change. Or new things will occur and other things along those lines, right? And like I said with guns, is that you walk around with a concealed carried weapon, or you with a unconcealed weapon and other things like that, and you understand that America has more guns than people, and you understand that at any time, possibly, somebody could snap. But you also know that you won't snap. You are aware of yourself. You are aware of your abilities. You are aware that you as well are armed. Now, this isn't going to be something like a good guy with a gun, but you also know that you can potentially protect yourself and other people around you if need arises. Much like how you know that you can swerve off the road in a controlled fashion instead of just allowing yourself to freeze up in the moment and get smashed into and T-boned. Or walking into a store and suddenly getting rammed with a cart because you weren't aware, right? You just need to be aware. You need to have a form of understanding of the world around you and the flaws, but also the great things about the world around you and other things like that. Just be aware. Be mindful of where you exist. And that helps you regulate your emotions. That helps you do all these other things that Dora's talking about.
Most people drive and aren't cognizant of the fact that they might crash.
I don't really see where this is going.
What we must do when we drive is acknowledge the risk. We should be earnest enough with ourselves to know there is danger. And if it arose, simply ask, what must be done?
I'm trying to get it, but...
Vladimir Lenin's What is to be done?
The point is, in our line of work, you must make peace with risk, with danger, death. And when crisis truly strikes, you might find you are stronger than you think.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Do what, specifically?
Stay, like, strong, cool. More than even Grampy, honestly.
Time. I've had a lot of practice, boy.
I hope I'll have the time.
Also, fun fact, Dor, like, isn't really that old. He's, like, only in his 30s, apparently. Because he was 19 or 18 whenever Marcus was 10. And Marcus is only, like, 26, 27 now. So he's not, like, in his 60s like it seems because of his hair. He just has white hair. He also had white hair when he was 19 too, so.
It's okay to have doubts, concerns, even to be overwhelmed. It's natural, and it is not actually good to suppress it. I wasn't born the man I am. I certainly wasn't as strong as you were when I was 11.
Really? What were you like?
Angrier, more rash, certainly less kind.
Should I try getting angrier?
No. Boy, your kindness is among your greatest qualities.
What?
We can also clearly see the influence of Big D is that probably there's a point where Dor supplemented fear with anger and let it consume him, but that wasn't what D was like. What D was wanting. It was, hey, sometimes you need to supplement a bad emotion, and instead of getting stuck in it, you can use another emotion to get out of it, such as anger, or rage, or indignation. Burger time. Oh, all right. Before I eat this and I super speed it up, I want to mention that I think there's a thing with Big D that a lot of people need to understand. It is not that you view him as wrong because he's insane. It's the fact that he is insane, but the things that he is talking about actually has a point to them. You just need to dissect it and look at it with the nuance that it deserves. Eat.
By the time the world strips you of your youthful innocence, you'll be much better adjusted than I ever was.
Number 3 Gutbuster XXL combo. Hold the bun, extra bacon, and a little Tolly's meal with a side of pork fries.
Whoa, you can really smell the lard.
Absolutely. I cooked them fresh just for you.
Thank you, Francis.
Oh, no need to thank me. Just tip. It goes straight to the store.
Isn't a tip meant to go to the servers?
Don't forget your collectible action figures.
Whoa! Corporal Cruelty and Guard Goblin Grill.
Garb Goblin Griller! Yes, please tip. It goes straight to the store. I don't even have anything funny to say about that, dude.
Yes.
Awesome!
Okay.
Dor has the indignation of a fucking Che Guevara in his eyes. Is like, no, the tip is going to go to the workers, you bitch.
Okay, I'm gonna leave now. Let me know if you lads need anything else.
We will, Francis.
My pleasure.
What a nice man.
Boy,
Dad,
don't eat your meal.
sure, wait, why?
There is something strange about this Francis.
Bad idea.
People are not named customer service.
Dad,
And there are other red flags. But let us not talk here. We might actually be in danger.
danger? Dad, please, this was supposed to be burger time.
Son, I know you have doubts, and I know you wish to eat your meat burger. But it is the burden of the hunter to put the needs of the many before oneself.
Wait, but what if Francis customer service is actually...
Don't worry, I'll protect you.
Not that, Dad. What if Francis customer service is actually super nice?
Then he's not a supernatural creature, and we can eat our dinner.
Gosh, I don't know about that. He did say he was a worm in human skin, right?
Right. But it's clear whatever glamour he's been using to blend in with the people here is fast disintegrating. We may have come here at an opportune time.
Well, what if he's a nice worm in human skin?
Nice? Boy, I've been hunting supernatural creatures since I was your age. In all that time, the amount of these creatures I'd call nice could be counted on one hand. That hand had all its fingers chopped off.
But what if Francis customer service is, like, the exception?
There is that point, but there's a difference between optimism, idealism, and the naivety. You can hope to be idealistic about something, but oftentimes that's very dreamy and outside of the facts of what is actually going on. Then there's optimism, which is you hope for the best. You don't dream, but you're like, let's try and make sure that we can have the best outcome, instead of an ideal outcome that might not even be possible in the first place. And if you say, well, what if it is possible? Then that's not idealism. That is optimism. But then there's naivety. Naivety separates the two. You are naive in thinking that everything can be idealistic, but you can be nihilistic in thinking that only things can go bad.
Fine. Let's investigate him further, then.
You can't... Whoa, wait. Just like that?
Just like that.
But I thought...
Investigating Francis customer service can be an educational moment for you, boy.
I love replacing burger time with Thunderstorm.
Our first stop will be the restroom. Come, boy.
Sure.
We'll be back after these messages.
Do not have socks on your foot. Do not have socks on your foot. Do not have socks on your foot. You can now purchase these foot containers that are like in a horrible evil wizard.
Holy shit!
With your foots and come without aggressive fungus, unlike our competitor. In addition, we have a shirt. The shirt has the iconic M letter and the iconic W letter. And we also wrote cool guy on the back because if you bought this, then yeah, you are. Please buy
Man, that's really cool.
clothing Articles. Now, they will be all you need in your wardrobe. Buy now. For limbs enter frost necrosis. Buy now
It's not that bad of a shirt. Not bad of a price.
All right, boy. What is the first thing you notice here?
I guess that it's clean?
Exactly. And by my reckoning, too clean.
Uh-huh.
Boy, this is a busy restaurant at the end of a long day. And yet, the restroom is completely spotless.
When we got here, Dad, don't forget, Francis customer service was cleaning it.
That is true. And it is traditional in the world of fast food that the restrooms be cleaned at closing.
So, maybe he just did a good job because he's a nice man, maybe, perhaps.
No good man keeps a bathroom this immaculate, boy.
There's a difference between keeping it... He does have a point. There's a difference between keeping it clean and sanitary and then overdoing it purely for aesthetics' sake. Right? There's a difference between cleaning your toilet, cleaning your sink, and making sure that there's no bacteria. But then there's an extension beyond that of getting into, like, the nooks and crannies and, like, spit shining the toilet as if it's going to be on display every single day at, like, a show or, like, at a window, right? It has to be better than factory new in every single day, every single time. It's just like, it is literal menial labor meant to do nothing beyond just performativism of putting on this, like, show.
In addition, Francis customer service isn't just a worker, he's a manager. And any man with customer service for a name must be a stickler for the rules.
I don't know about that.
So why would he have the bathrooms finished before closing time? He's the only one here. No one to manage the front for him.
Kind of tells me that there is a possibility that of a very clean bathroom, maybe it was really fucking dirty. With something very nefarious.
To man the drive-thru. To make the food.
I don't know. Maybe you're reading a bit too into things, Dad. Like, he did give me 2 sick collectible figurines. That is not following the rules. That's just being nice and good and cool.
Only one way to find out. Let her scour this bathroom.
For what, Dad?
Anything at all. Come now, boy. Treat this like a hunt.
My Berg is running away.
Soap dispenser stocked. Toilet paper stocked. Toilets. Smell faintly of citrus.
The soap is stocked. So they wasted the soap of the previous day. They didn't let it run out. They just replaced it after a minimal use. That is waste.
I detect a minimal amount of bowel odor.
The waste bins are empty. Well, except for this one, I guess.
Really? That's odd.
Is it?
Indeed. Not only have I served in the United States Armed Forces, but I have also completed a tour of duty as a Skeeter's dishwasher.
Whoa.
During that time, closing was one of my duties. And I distinctly find it odd that not all of this trash was sorted out. Why take all those bags out to the dumpster?
Yeah, why? I've worked with managers who are very big sticklers to the rules and procedures. Most annoying people on the planet. They are literally just the petty versions of the corporation, right? And it is so weird to not have all of the trash taken out. I had to take out the trash every day. That was one of my duties as one of them, because I was one of the very able-bodied people that were on the team, the squad, whatever the fuck they wanted to call it. And it was not a good thing to just leave one of the trashes empty. And especially whenever a manager did it, they did it really well. so that if you see all of this other spotless stuff and then one of them is still empty, and it's not just beyond pragmatism, which pragmatism comes from a worker. Pragmatism is like, oh, well, we don't need to waste anything, right? Maybe these donuts, instead of being thrown out, they can be given away at the end of the day because they're already a little bit stale, so no need to throw them away. We can just give them away to people. That was what I did. But a manager would say, well, no, we throw them away. That's procedure. That's what we do. That's our job. And that's my job to ensure that that's what you do. So.
But not this one.
Maybe he took them one at a time.
Maybe. Or maybe there's a secret hidden in this trash bag. Boy, what do you notice about this crumpled up paper towel?
Nothing?
Exactly. Nothing. Except citrus. He used these paper...
Yeah, he used those paper towels to clean the bathroom, but didn't take that trash can out specifically? Why not? Usually that's when that trash bag that you know that you're using is one that you know you're going to have to take out because you put shit into it.
Paper towels to clean the bathroom.
Or it could be hand soap. Let me check what the hand soap smells like. Okay, it doesn't smell like citrus. It's Gargo's tarmac soap.
Then it's clear that these were used to clean this bathroom. Yes, I can smell the gunk from here.
Really?
Agreed. But that's not the only thing I smell.
Citrus?
No.
The sweet scent of asphalt?
No. Blood.
What?
Take a look.
What?
Take a look.
Holy baloney.
These wipes were intentionally buried under all the others. It seems Francis isn't as innocent as he seems.
Hold on. Maybe he just had a nosebleed.
This wasn't a nosebleed. Don't try and cover for him, boy.
I'm not, but...
Look closer.
Oh, gosh. All of these? That's a lot of blood.
And if he's an infernalist, the reason why he would have taken it out is because he's probably going to use those for later.
So we're hunting Francis customer service.
Okay, but wait a sec.
Son, we found a suspicious load of bloody paper towels at the bottom of a trash bag.
Yeah?
One that he almost certainly filled.
Don't we need more context?
What sort of context do you think we need?
Do you remember back when Uncle Marcus got really into dragons that week?
Yes.
And he wouldn't stop talking about dragons. He was like so into dragons, even though Uncle Law thought it was weird.
Right.
And Grampy thought that Marcus had been replaced with a homunculus, so we filled our bathtub up with minced garlic, tied him up, and kept dunking him in it over and over again until he cried.
But it really did seem like he was a homunculus at the time.
Yeah, but he wasn't. We gotta make sure of it with this guy too, because what if there's an explanation for this blood?
Like what?
Nobody's perfect.
Maybe someone blew up in the bathroom.
Is that a metaphor for defecating?
No.
I believe I have heard that used as a metaphor for defecation, son.
I'm talking about blood, Dad.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Why say blew up?
Okay, but like, what if someone got shot?
These barbarous lands are devoid of the Second Amendment, boy. If someone got anything, they'd be stabbed.
What if someone got stabbed?
By Francis customer service?
No, just by anyone else. By themselves.
Why is it?
Burger lady? I don't know.
Why is the establishment still open? My thing is that, like, why is Blair and Mr. Pentex over there here? They must have stopped here and used it for some sort of infernalist business or somehow before moving on to another place. Almost like a little pit stop. It was not just for food.
A remote possibility, but a normal human man would have called the police, or in more civilized lands, taken the law into their own sovereign hands. In either case,
nice python door.
They wouldn't have kept their burger restaurant open after the fact.
Well, maybe Francis isn't a normal human guy. Like,
he's a little bit of an individualist, but it's okay, I guess.
And saying creepy stuff about, like, the Earth's womb. All very spooky, but Grampy says weirder stuff all the time.
That is true.
Maybe this guy's, like, we found blood, but do we have to immediately hunt this guy just because he's not a human guy? He was, like, nice and stuff, and I mean...
Go on.
It'd be nice to know where the line is, I guess. The line on when something's suspicious enough to, hunt it. To, act. Because I'm getting, like, confused. I don't really always, know where the line is.
Your concerns are valid, boy.
Horse.
But perhaps... Boy, I need to ask you something. Something important.
Sure, Dad.
Do you think this lifestyle, that of the hunter, are you sure you want to continue on it, son?
What?
I worry, boy. I worry that we're forcing this all on you. That we're traumatizing you. No, I know we're traumatizing you. Maybe that makes it worse.
What do you mean?
This life, the life of a hunter, it's one of violence, suspicion. I've warned you of this when you came to live with just me. I know I've told you again and again. But if you're struggling, it's not too late to just walk away.
You think I'm struggling?
Boy.
I'm not! I'm just trying to figure this stuff out, Dad! Yeah, Dad, there's monsters out there. I can't just walk away from that.
I understand, son. But the sacrifices you must make, the decisions you may need. Say Francis walked in here now. Right now. And unbeknownst to you, you had 3 seconds to make a quick, decisive call.
Dad,
You took 5 seconds. 5 seconds to figure out if he was one of the good ones. And during those 5 seconds, he killed you.
Dad!
Son, this is important. You don't always have this luxury of time.
You're talking crazy!
Far from it, I'm afraid. I fear for you, boy. I fear, at times, that this life...
You think I'm not good enough? Oh my gosh. You really think that?
It's not that. I worry at times that you're too good. That you're too... soft.
Soft?
Gentle, I meant gentle.
I'm not, Dad! I shot that vampire! I'm trying to do everything right!
I know, son, but I want you to know that...
I can't believe this!
Boy, wait! God damn it all. Door, you...
That is a really important conversation to have, though. But it's also one of those things that, like, Boy's own reaction to that both proves a little bit of it, but also at the same point, you live in a world that doesn't allow for such softness and gentleness and the like. There are very few places where you have that luxury. There is very few places that can accommodate for that, especially traumatized places where you need a safe space and gentleness and coddling. Not in like in a bad way, like in a good way, like swaddling. You need that. But in the world around you, even the best of worlds, it's not going to be a place that can be that all the time. 'Cause it is, especially with a world like the World of Darkness, you need to be ready. You need to be mature. Being soft and being allowed to exist like that is a luxury. It is a privilege that you are allowed to do it that way, because other people around the world who wish they could be soft aren't allowed to. They can't. And I think that is...
Fool, it's you who's soft, choking out his confidence, trying to coddle him. He's young. He'll learn. You can protect him until then. You just have to... The lights went out. Boy!
Yeah, there is also the argument, like I was saying before Dor said it, is like, possibly that you just kind of need to trust him a little bit more. And boy is gentle. Boy is soft. And it can possibly lean into naivety. But he did shoot a vampire. He did do a lot to actually want to help. And he was able to do it. So you just need to guide him more. These questions he's having are good questions. You just need to make sure that he arrives at a thing and at an answer that can best fit himself without forcing it upon him or forcing an outlook into him, but not one that is unrealistic for the world he exists in.
Where'd you go?
Sir!
Hello, Francis Customer Service. Where are you? What's happened?
Seems that the power's out. Gah! So sorry about that. It seems like you and the little buddy are gonna have to die now. But don't worry. Got all your food wrapped up for you.
Right. My son, Francis.
Why'd you wrap it up? If you knew, it's like you knew that it was going to black out.
Wish I could be more help.
Actually, you could be.
Really? Because the way I see it, I think I might be at the end of my usefulness. The power's out, your meal's bagged, I can't really run the restaurant right now.
And my son is still unaccounted for.
Ah, that's right, the little tyke. Maybe he's back out at the car. I haven't seen him, I can barely see my hand in front of my face in this dark.
Won't you help me look for him?
Sir, maybe you should,
Excuse me?
So sorry. Where are my manners? Francis Customer Service Fuchs is always happy and ready to help our beloved customers.
What have you done with my son, you freak?
Whoa! I haven't done anything! And sorry, is that a gun?
It is.
You know, if I can barely see it, it probably means you can barely see me. So if you wanted to say, shoot me, that would be difficult.
I can hear you well enough.
I sure hope so. After all, I wouldn't want to be misheard.
I've seen the blood, Francis. The scraps you left in the bathroom.
Gosh, you're thorough. Would you believe there's a perfectly rational explanation for all that? Hello? Hello?
He's not shooting him because...
Earth to, so sorry, sir. I never got your name.
Your name is not customer service. What are you really?
I'm just your average everyday restaurant manager. It's just... They put something under my skin.
They
put something under my skin and it
there's an eye like showing up there.
good.
Oh, yep, right there.
What it chews on.
Excuse me?
It went for my lungs first, and though it hurt very badly, once it finished, it could breathe for me. Then my heart. Once my heart was swallowed, I could run, jog, swim, jump, and work like Christ. I never get tired now.
A worm in human skin.
So you did hear that? Gosh, you're silly. Staying here despite that?
Well, don't stop there, Francis. Tell me more.
More?
The benefits of your lifestyle. Tell me more about it. Perhaps I'm interested.
Oh, you know, it got my eyes too. I can see just fine in this dark. Can see that gun you're holding too.
Ooh.
Damn it. Princess?
Let's see. What was that? What did he look like there? That was a really, really cool design. Also, usually Fomor aren't... They're usually, kind of a little bit bulletproof. Well, more bullet sponge than bulletproof. Let's say. I like how the, ooh. Look at that. Look at that. That is so cool looking. That's definitely worm taint right there, boy. That's a very cool design for it, too. The way that the chest, like, kind of, his mouth, like, almost went downwards and then, like, opened up into another, and then his skin's right there, but then his head's right here, and then there's another eye, and then his, like, oh, wow. And then the bones.
Damn it. Princess? God, too dark.
I just want to share this with you, you know? It's sublime. Soon it'll be gnawing on my brainstem. Then my thoughts and its thoughts will be one forevermore. Do you know how joyous it is to disintegrate into something? To let yourself be pressed down into nothing until you're shaped in its image.
I want no part in your reshaping.
That's actually really interesting because that is thematically parallel to what's happening with Door and Boy and D. They want to shape Boy, but they don't want to force him into a shape.
You're a freak, nothing more.
Have I truly done anything to earn your ire, friend? I assure you, ever since you walked in, I wanted nothing but the best for you and your little boy.
You know, my son was convinced you might be one of the good ones. He has a sense of idealism.
I am one of the good ones.
When you're dead on the ground, that's when you'll be one of the good ones.
All I want is to give you and your son a new family to call your own. Surely you won't reject my gift. I've been saving it for someone else, but they rejected it. Scornful! Won't you partake of the ritual we've set up in the back?
Dad, no!
Order up, you son of a bitch.
Ooh! Damn! He's a burger. That's awesome. That is some of the best fucking design shit for like a worm taint or a worm bane, because so often do they take shit that's around them and like morph it into them. You see it like with some like the Garu art of like where like the banes that like infect technology will like turn into like this mech creature and shit.
Oh my god, he melted.
Where did you run off to? You scared me. You scared me so big.
I ran through the back. I was mad and I decided, you know, check things out. I saw him flip the circuit breaker. Just flipped it back when I knew you were out here.
Attaboy, son.
Yeah, he had some stuff back there. A person, I think. Boiling. Dissolving in a vat of something. It was pretty bad.
I see.
Dad, I just wanna... I'm sorry. You were right. This guy had bad news all over him, and I didn't want to see
Don't
it.
apologize. You're not soft. You're kind.
It's not that. I had us blabbering in the bathroom forever about me thinking he was okay, and he wasn't, and
Son.
I wasn't right. He was a real monster.
That's
and
enough. Boy, listen to me. You are a young man, boy. 11 years, going on 12.
11.
Right. And you are still learning.
Mm-hmm.
Your savvy, your experience, your wit. Give yourself time and grace. Grandpa taught me well, and I shall teach you well. Have faith in that.
I'm trying, but...
Listen, son. You've learned a valuable lesson today. That thing there, things like it will try to take advantage of your good nature. Try to
exploit you, yeah. But that doesn't mean you have to get rid of your good nature. It just means you need to understand when to use your good nature and to not let others abuse it for you, lest they decide and twist what it means to be good to you.
exploit you.
Toit.
Next time, will you let them in?
No, sir.
Good boy. Now, we need to wheel out the gasoline.
Oh, does this mean we
That's
get...
right, son. Gather my shell casings while I bring it in. We need to cover our tracks.
Heck yeah!
This was before that then. Okay, because after this, and Otali's burnt down before everything with like Blair. Oh, very interesting. So I wonder if it seems like they went to Otali's to solve for something, and then there was the Nastrum plane that they were also chasing down, and then probably here they replaced the guy with they had already replaced the guy with the worm, and they was kind of like an infiltrator of another trader that got put into the vat in the back, and now they're heading off to the to Nastrum. Hey, Dor, did you know your brother's nearby?
Thanks, Dad.
The werewolf?
Every sheriff needs a good deputy. Now help me bundle up some more flammables. It should be intense so as to ensure that nothing here escapes.
Yes, sir!
I am not going to entertain these thoughts anymore. He is still learning. When will he be ready then? That's not a decision I can make. He'll be ready when he's ready. And if it's not soon, then what? He'll die. I can only help him be ready. He'll die.
You can only help him be ready. You could force him to be ready and always watch over him, but that's not him protecting himself. That's you being paternalist and making him safe. Sounds good an idea, but that strips him away of autonomy. That keeps him from being a person into just an object to you, an extension of you.
Enough. That's enough. He is not weak. He is not stupid. He is my son. There is nothing more to say about it. Stop.
Dad, your phone?
Ah. That must be Father. Hello? Yes, Father. We were wrapping...
So he was on the phone with Dor. Okay. Yep, he was on the phone with Dor at the beginning of the werewolf one. Alright.
He's what? Good God. Where did it take him? Is it possible to track it? Father, now is not the time for... Right. We will return immediately. Will we need anything other than the M60s? Should I pour out whatever is in the tank? Ah. Nevertheless, be safe.
He's talking about pouring out the holy water. You can kind of hear D. He is audible.
Boy, we need to hurry.
What happened?
Your uncle is in grave trouble. Time is of the essence. Let's burn this infestation now. It's too fast. It will be do or die time soon. Do or die. Do or die.
Oh no, is that a death flag for Dor? Because, oh fuck, remember the father lay desiccated upon the rocks as his son watches. Fuck, no, No, remember horse prophecy! Horse prophecy! Horse prophecy!
It's lots of blood you coughed. What?
Remember, thine eyes see it in mine crimson miasma.
Mine crimson miasma, thine Vader laid bare, desiccated on the rocks. By thy hand, the abbot will
Lay desiccated upon the rocks because of your actions. But perhaps because of this, because of the prophecy that Horse says to Boy, it is preventing this potentiality from occurring. If it hadn't, he would die. But because now that kind of fear is put into Boy, it is not a self-fulfilling prophecy. It is a prophecy that now can be changed because there is a glitch in that stream of possibilities. Or maybe Door needed to be a little bit more guiding with Boy, and maybe they hadn't come to an understanding that they truly thought that they had, or it wasn't as matured into something as it was beginning to be. But because they didn't have the time, they didn't have the luxury, like Dora said, to truly come into it, then he could be the cause for Dora to die.
one falls, one rises. Damnation. The third eye opens. His sweat will feed and warm her gullet. The abbot.
Seems like probably it's going to be the Tremere that feeds on Door, possibly turning him and embracing him like Kevin, or killing him and allowing Boy to raise up and mature. Because there are already these moments of Boy almost turning into like edginess and emo-ness. He's like, maybe I should be angry. Maybe I should be like my dad was already. But he's like, no, you can't be. You can't be. And I kind of see already that that's probably what's going to happen. Door is going to die, or something bad is going to happen to Door. And then if Boy had been alone, he'd have fallen down a really dark path. But because he has his family around, he can mature. It's almost like a very sickening coming of age. He's almost a teenager, but he's still just 12 years old.
Will know the patriarch in mastering Luna ends hamstrung. He will wish death upon his flesh, but no mercy shall be given.
The Patriarch, D. They're talking about D. In mastering Luna, defeating the Garu, ends hamstrung. That is not literal, as in strung up, but in that he feels that he needs a sense of victory, but because of it, I think what's going to happen is that at the chapter house, people are going to go into the spirit world, and then people are going to go to the chantry, right? And he's going to find out about Door and he is going to wish death upon his flesh, but no mercy shall be given. He will not die. Perhaps this is where it's going to be revealed that Big D is immortal. He cannot physically die, even if he wanted to. Or, more specifically, there is nothing around to kill him right now, even if he is just mortal, because he wishes for death, but it will not be granted to him.
For none he hath gave, the rising ray shall signal war's end. War and triumph, the abbot will know from them bloodshed.
The big three, I'm curious what that means. It could be the triad, it could be the metaphysical triad, it could be the triad of the Camarilla Anarchs or whatever, but I really doubt it's that either. And Sabbath. Okay.
For all kind, kindred, Garu, milklings, Elohim.
Angels, changelings, werewolves, vampires, mortals.
In the light, they all will.
Ah, man. It's intense. It's intense.